Okay, so what we're talking about now is how to teach on Zoom, and that it's very different from teaching face to face. What are your thoughts, John? Have you tried doing that yet?
No, I have not done it yet. I've been at home practicing it with my Zoom buddy, but I haven't done it yet.
And Polly, you've tried it, and you find that it's real different than teaching face to face.
Yeah, I mean, for example, group exercises, that's kind of gone, right? So you have to replace that with something else. So I do short video clips of just what's out there to present, to sort of like reinforce certain aspect of human behavior. And then shifting the individual reflection that's based on what I had on the course syllabus into real time, their experiences during this crisis, right? What they see, how they feel. So that kind of gives them a little bit sense of comfort, but also relevancy, right? This is the 50-10. So I find a little video, like 5 to 10 minutes clips, really useful in the discussion. And then, every 5 PowerPoint slides, then we segue into something that's, or weave it into real life experiences, what they're feeling, how they're feeling, how's that apply to specific theories. This is the 50-10.
Yeah, I teach in small groups. So, because I can't imagine having 20 people in a Zoom class, because it just doesn't go well. I've had, even having 10 or 15 people in a Zoom class is challenging. So some of the things that came up yesterday about how to do that was Jen wanted to know if she could stream video while sharing her screen on Zoom. And we tried it live and it seemed to work okay. So yeah, you can share video clips on Zoom. Something else I just developed for another part of the CSU initiative to teach online that I'll share with everybody is the idea of creating mini lectures, 6 to 10-minute lectures. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a video on how to take your mini lectures that you create on Zoom and how to post them on YouTube and then share that link with students. We're having some challenges on campus with Zoom. If you record to the cloud, it's taking 24 to 48 hours to get the link back to you because everybody in America is on Zoom. So I figured out how to record it to my computer and then how to upload that to YouTube in an easy way. And Zoom does better captioning than YouTube videos do. So you've got more accessibility that way. So those are some of the ideas I had. Oh, yesterday also, I think it was Jen, suggested that she's going to split her class into smaller groups and meet with them on Zoom in smaller groups. We also said there's no expectation that you're going to spend the same number of hours and minutes from your regular class schedule on Zoom or online with students. And a couple of things, I think Savan had done this. She had used the working group function on Zoom, which I don't know how to use. The working group function on Zoom to split her class into small groups, and she has them, she's kind of the Zoom goddess, I think. She has them work in small groups online and then come back to the larger group. So she has breakout groups and then large groups to come back and process the information.
Yeah.
So these are some ideas that she's had.
Yeah, I try that and it seems to work okay, but it's not the same as in person, right? Where you can walk around, check them all out. So any discussion sort of like, they all hear, right? So it gets a little bit disruptive, but it worked a little bit. What I find most effective is to repeat, do like a 5 slides and then an overview and then go back, and then repeat that throughout. That seems to work. And then ask question where you kind of make them think a little bit more. So step out of the theory, step out of the class, the topic, and just discuss what's going on. That seems to work, what's relevant to them, as opposed to, the cut and dry classroom standard lecture.
Yeah, and you're teaching classes where you have to convey a lot of theory, right? Because you're teaching HBSE, yeah. And so there's a lot of knowledge that it can be challenging to have students connect with. And
Right.
so what drops out when you're on video is that personal connection.
Mm-hmm.
So all the skills you have, including cracking jokes and telling stories, that tends to flatten out when you're on video conferencing software.
Right. So what I do is I make sure that it's relevant to what is happening right now. Discussing, for example, what is happening in Italy, what is happening in France, what is happening. So I get that international perspective in a little bit and then apply that to sort of specific theories and then take it down to their level with specific example. And that seems to work. All of a sudden you can see they're getting more animated as opposed to like falling asleep, right?
Right, right.
So
That's a great idea, because relevance is one of the big things about adult teaching and learning. And so talking about the current circumstances and applying it to whatever you're learning about, I think is a really good idea.
mhm. Hello?
John's computer drops out periodically.
Oh, I see. That was
He'll be
what that
back.
was. Okay. All right.
So
So
I could
I,
use some ideas too, because I'm teaching psychosocial assessments right now in hybrid. And so I use that 4-hour class, the second 4-hour class, to do tons of in-person work about psychotic disorders, because that's the one set of disorders I want to teach in person, because it's so complicated and it's got all that technical language with it. And so I have this really dynamic, interactive activities they have to do in person. So I have to figure out now, how do I convey that online? And one thing I do have is I have a video of actual clients. These were official videos that were marketed and sold before HIPAA, so you have actual clients. So it's very rich video. And I've got to figure out how to take those video clips and merge it with the kind of interactive activities I had. So I do a lot of vocabulary, and instead of the in-class matching game that I have with vocabulary, I'm going to have a competition to say, at what timestamp in the video do you see this symptom? And I think that's the game I'm going to have online, and they're going to do it on their own, and they're going to post. I'm going to have to format it some way so that they post like the top 10, and then I give a prize to who, which I think I'll do it in small groups actually, which small group gets the greatest accuracy about the top 10. Hi, Stacy, how you doing? Can you hear us? I can't hear you. Oh, you've got yourself muted, I see. Could you nod your head if you hear us?
We hear you.
Okay, great.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you, Val?
I'm hanging in. Pollie, this is Stacy Yonker. She's teaching the medical social work course.
Oh, nice.
And she's a graduate of our program.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And Pollie is a faculty member who joined us a couple of years ago, who teaches a lot of theory and practice, but she also has a PhD in medical anthropology.
Wow.
So
Awesome.
yeah, really a good fit for our department in that regard. So right now we're recording, Stacy. I just wanted to let you know that, because we're talking about teaching practices and how to take any of what we're doing online.
So one other
perfect.
thing that one other thing that I did just to test it out this past week is to do group presentation online, and it seems to work okay, and they seem to enjoy it.
Good. So are they doing it live while you're in Zoom? Great.
Yeah.
Great.
So the only thing that I do differently is that I interrupt them like every couple slides, and I'm like, well, do people have any comment? What should we, how is this going? So a lot of check-in to make sure that it goes well. But it was just a trial of like 20 minutes or so. So it seems to work.
Okay, good, good. So Stacy, John Garcia is back on. I'm going to stop recording right now.